at times. He's not a natural finisher, but he is a little bit of a thorn in the side with his work rate. So he's a decent player, obviously, to lead that line. And there's Mose Keane that misses out tonight for Vihalic. So, you know, they have him on the bench. It's a strong physicality, you know, coming on if they need that. But there's the man, isn't he, Vihalic? You know, 33 seconds it took him to score in the first leg. And, you know, he looks like he's a natural goal scorer. Probably the opposite of Morata, who does obviously pitching as well.
Vlahovic, 1 goal more than Haaland across competitions and 2 less than Mbappe. He's becoming quite the formidable striker, and Morata as well, scoring for Juventus. He's already scored 1 goal against Villarreal in 3 appearances, of course, when he's played them before. Villarreal, for their part, will be stoic as expected from an Unai Emery team. They go with a 4-4-2 as well, with the midfield generals there being Capuy and Dani Parejo. Parejo scored on the weekend as well. Up front, Tottenham Hotspur loanee Lo Celso in attack with Danjuma. A 4-4-2 for them. David, expectations from this team? With a 4-4.
Well, I mean, Vlahovic is going to be the game changer, I think, and this defence is going to have to be at his best. I mean, we're expecting them to play, obviously, a lot of controlling football. Danjuma up front has got a goal in him, of course. But everything's geared towards them having to defend as well. With, as I say, with that Juventus lineup looking so, how can I say, tasty, Arpit. But I just think their away form is not bad. Villarreal, I just think that they've lost quite a few games by the odd goal. And again, you know, with all the talent that the team has got, ball possession at times, it's those little areas where they concede goals, which is going to cost them. And against a Juve side at home who, you know, since the group stages haven't lost a game at home. This is a tough game. I mean, I love listening to the comments coming from the stadium there, because, you know, it's win or disaster for Juve. This is the perfect place for Juve to step up, I think.
It definitely is. And the away record you mentioned, it's a bit of a contrast because Villarreal, 14 years, they haven't kept a clean sheet away from home in the Champions League. But this year, 6 of the 10 points came away from home in the Champions League. So we never know what we can expect tonight. Of course, that's the match on Sony 10-1, on Sony Live as well. For now, another short break here on our show. As on the other side, we build up to a featured match on Sony 10-2, which involves Chelsea, of course. They have had their issues off the pitch, but they have players back as well, and we'll feature on those on the other side of this break.
Hulk Hogan, Steve Austin, The Undertaker.
Amoncool, Cheliadel.
FA Cup quarter-final, Nottingham Forest versus Liverpool, Sunday 20th March 11:30 p.m. live on Sony Sports.
Sam, Dam, Dund, Hey.
When two of your fiercest rivals draw daggers at each other. Well, sit back, relax, and watch the carnage. Simple pleasures of a cricket fan. Australia tour of Pakistan, third test, Monday 21st March 10:30 a.m.
Welcome back. We are in France for a featured match here on Sony 10-2. The players from Lille, of course, need a miracle tonight. They didn't have the best of build-ups for this one, as they had another injury concern in Renato Sanchez against Saint Etienne. They've had 5 clean sheets in a row, though, and they go with a 3-5-2. With the wingers there, Celik and Gudmundsson, and of course Jonathan David and Burak Yilmaz partnering. David has only 1 goal in 10. Burak hasn't started since February, but they renewed their partnership, which was quite prolific last season. Can we expect the same this time around? Well, the manager has put his trust in them, and we'll find out, of course, soon enough. But they face a very tough task in Chelsea. And we were talking about a few players back from illness, particularly Azpilicueta, Nizar. But as we looked through the team and saw some of the names in there, did you feel as well that maybe Tuchel is being a little defensive?
Yeah, of course. He's trying to shut up shop. You know, they're 2-0 up. Keep it tight, keep control of the game. I think it's more control than defensive. The way they play when they use this system is, let's just stop any counterattacks. Let's just dominate the ball. What you'll see today from Chelsea is possession. You'll see them high up the pitch, even with the sort of defensive formation. But what it's designed to do is to cut out the counterattacks, to stop the opposition from, you know, breaking, and then Chelsea have gaps all over the field. So I think that's what you see, and you know, especially with the 3-man space and the 2 who are down the sides, they're able to sort of cover those gaps. But yeah, we'll see Chelsea dominate possession, and yeah, we'll see, you know, a team that doesn't want to give a lot of counterattacks away. But you know, maybe it will be not so creative going forward as well. So yeah, I'm interested to see what it's like, this formation from the start. We've not seen it for a little while.
He tinkered with the formation against Newcastle as well. David, are you maybe a little surprised by the team selection here with those 3 centre-backs and 3 midfielders in front of them?
No, and given that I haven't been following Chelsea as closely as other teams, Nizar, I take your expertise on board here. But looking at a lineup, I just think this is a game that Chelsea will have a field day. The game against Newcastle, you could argue, was a fortunate win. Obviously, there were some decisions made from referees which were questionable, but I think they were playing against the Newcastle side, who are undefeated in 9. Newcastle were one of the form teams in the Premier League, and Thomas Tuchel got his men to win a game 1-0 with all that's going on. That is a mark of a great manager and a great team, in my opinion. And I just think today, against this Lille side, who in the Champions League at least haven't won by 2 goals at home, yeah, this is just all about Chelsea.
Kai Havertz trusted again, and of course he is a great manager. He's won a lot of fans for the way he's conducted himself in the past couple of weeks as well. So let's pick on his brains a little bit as he spoke about what to expect from this match right before it.
Thomas, despite everything going on, and probably more and more every single day, have your players been able to focus on this job here tonight?
Yeah, I think so. They're happy to be here. Not so many changes for the team in the last days, and that's why same procedure as in the last games. We focus on sport. This is what we can influence and what we demand of ourselves, and we take the responsibility to our talent and what we love the most, and to everybody who supports us in the club. And that's what we do today. We fight and show the spirit that's necessary to go through.
You made 5 changes from the Newcastle game.
5?
Yeah, Alonso, Thiago Silva, Azpilicueta, Kovacic, Pulisic in. A little change in shape as well, I think, apart from rotating as 2.
Will not tell you. It's like just little changes. Does not feel so much, but listen, we had like only 2 days in between. We had like only 2 days before Newcastle in between matches. So I think some of these changes are necessary to have the fresh legs and also a fresh mindset. Then it's Marcos Alonso comes back as a specialist. Aspi comes back as a specialist as the wing backs. So yeah, we started against Newcastle in a 4-1-4-1, and then slight changes, but nothing big. It's a second leg in a knockout game, big. So we trust ourselves, we trust our principles, and need to be the best that we can.
And Lille are a tricky proposition, particularly if they get an early goal here. It's going to be a loud stadium.
Yeah, so all the time like this, better to not concede at no minute of the game. We know this, and fair enough. They play the role of an underdog, of course. First of all, we need to accept it. Don't fight against it. They will play this role and will allow them to overperform. And you need to fight against. You need to stand up against. But let's don't predict what's coming, because we both don't know what's coming. But we are aware of it, and I needed to remind nobody that a half-time, no matches won, and for sure no match in Champions League. We expect a physical game. Again, we had a tough physical match against Newcastle, and were patient and passionate at the same time, played with a lot of courage and defended very well, and I think we need the same, because Lille is strong in defense, very tall, strong in set pieces, so very tall team. And yeah, it's a nice stadium and can be very emotional. So some question to be answered, but we trust ourselves.
Thank you, Thomas.
Thanks.
Thomas Tuchel there, taking charge of his 50th match in the UEFA Champions League. And if he wins tonight, he breaks Zinedine Zidane's record. And he's quite a likable person, listening to him there as well, talking about the changes, just so upfront about it. But even if he reels in the changes for whatever reason, Ashley, our expectations from Chelsea are still immense.
Yeah, certainly are. We've spoken about the talent. We know that they've got a top manager. We only have to listen to him there to see cool, calm, collected, knows everything about Lille. You know, he does his due diligence well, played against them enough with PSG as well. So, you know, no better man to lead this charge tonight.
Nizar, you've been obviously keeping track of what the fans are saying as well. It is a comfortable lead, but is there any amount of nervousness that the Chelsea fans are feeling?
No, I don't think so. Not from the fans. They're just nervous about the future of their club in the longer term. But in an individual performance way, they're gonna be confident. This is the competition Chelsea won last season. They're 2-0 up. They expect to win, and that's what they want tonight.
Nizar, before we let you go, a prediction for this one from you?
Ooh, I'd go 1-0 all day, actually, to Chelsea, obviously.
You paused for a second. I was almost ready with my follow-up question, but 1-0 to Chelsea is quite a possibility with the amount of clean sheets that Thomas Tuchel's team has kept in the past. Thank you so much, Nizar Kinsella, for joining us. Always a pleasure. Ash and David, stick around for a little while longer, and you must too for at least the next couple of hours, as we have one of the biggest matches coming our way to determine our next quarter finalists. Could it be the French team or the English team? The first half in just a few minutes.
Steve Austin, The Undertaker, The Rock, John Cena, Roman Reigns, Charlotte Flair, Becky Lynch, and more. From blockbuster legends to blockbuster superstars. Watch WWE Blockbusters at 8 every night. Only on Sony 10.1 and Sony 10.3.
साम दाम दंड भेद कोई नीति नहीं अपनाएंगे।
एक चीज तुम लोग दिल और दिमाग में फिट कर लो।
कर हौसला बुलंद, हर मुकाबला आजमाएंगे।
अब तो असली जलवा दिखाना ही पड़ेगा।
कोई आ ना सके आड़े, ऐसा रंग जमाएंगे। When two of your fiercest rivals draw daggers at each other. Well, Sit back, relax, and watch the carnage. Simple pleasures of a cricket fan. Australia tour of Pakistan, third test, Monday 21st March, 10:30 a.m.
On Sony Sports Network.
FA Cup quarter-final, Crystal Palace versus Everton, Sunday 20th March 6 p.m. live on Sony 10/2.
This match is brought to you by Friendlies, UEFA Champions League sponsor.
Lille are fondly known as Les Dogs, the Mastiffs. There is a statue of this large breed of dog at the entrance of the club's training ground as well. So it's easy to know that it's going to be a little intimidating for Chelsea and their players. But it's 3 out of 3 in terms of victories for Chelsea against Lille. But 3 is just one of the words that brings an unsavory taste to Chelsea fans these days. Off the pitch, unprecedented drama, but on it, they are formidable. David, do you expect Chelsea to put in a clinical performance yet again?
I do, absolutely, Arpit. And the funny thing about all this drama that we see on the field now, it looks too processed. This isn't like going to, I don't know, Red Star with the fans and flares. I think Chelsea fans or Chelsea players will look at it and go, and what? Get on with the game, win, and then just look forward to the last 8.
Clean sheets for Chelsea. Each of the last 11 wins in the Champions League have come with clean sheets. Ashley, on that note, your prediction for this one?
Well, it's definitely set up for that, aren't they, with the 5. So for me, I can see him grinding out. This could be a 0-0, so I'll go 0-0 for me.
David, quickly from you as well?
2-0 Chelsea.
All right. Well, can the Chelsea fans be serenaded by the sound of victory from the English Blues, or will the French Mastiffs hunt them down and end their defense of the crown? We'll find out right now.
Well, they can't ask for any more from their supporters, those Lille players. Thomas Tuchel says that they know this will be a real test despite that first leg lead. Looking at the team news, Leo Jardim's been keeping a tight shop at the back of leg. 5 straight clean sheets in the league. The back line in front of him are the same as the first leg, with Jose Font having played every minute in the league and the Champions League this season. The absence of injured star man Renato Sanchez sees Benjamin Andre come in. He missed the draw at St Etienne through illness, and 36-year-old Burak Yilmaz makes his first start since mid-February in attack alongside Jonathan David. They struck up a prolific partnership last season, not quite been firing on all guns this term though. Man in the middle is the vastly experienced Italian official Davide Massa. It is an all-Italian team of officials, with the man watching the replays, Massimiliano Irati, the VAR. You can see Cesar Azpilicueta there, one of the players that comes into the team for Thomas Tuchel tonight. He switched things up in terms of personnel and formation. 5 changes from the late win over Newcastle and a move to a back 3 as well. A sturdy-looking central midfield as well, with Kovacic coming in to bolster things alongside Conte and Jorginho. Pulisic up top alongside Havertz. They both scored in the 2-0 win in the first leg. Havertz actually has 6 goals in his last 7 games. So, a tough task for Lille, but Thomas Tuchel says playing the role of underdogs will suit the home side down to the ground. He will be hoping for another important goal from Kai Havertz to try and get them over the line. Burak Yilmaz up against another fellow wise man in Thiago Silva at the back for Chelsea tonight. So it's Chelsea in the yellow to get the game underway, kicking from right to left in the first half. Chelsea beat Lille 2-1 home and away in the group stage a couple of seasons ago. The stakes a lot higher as we are into the knockout phase of the competition now. And the task is a lot taller for them this evening, Matt Holland, without Renato Sanchez being available.
Absolutely. I know the manager said that he does things that others can't, so he will be a big miss. What I would say is it's a terrific atmosphere inside the ground, and that's something they can really feed on. Chelsea have gone with a fairly pragmatic and I think sensible approach with his team selection tonight, Thomas Tuchel. 3 defensively minded central midfielders, but in Kovacic and Kante, he has got 2 players that can drive forward with the ball.
And it looks like a switch to a 4-4-2 for the home side as well. With Munson getting forwards on the left. He is a left back by trade, but has good attacking instincts, as he's shown there to win an early corner.
He's annoyed himself, he didn't quite get his touch right, but actually it's not the worst to get a corner so early on. Just gets the crowd up that little bit more, not that they need it.
Chelsea have been so miserly defensively, especially in the Champions League. They've kept more clean sheets than any other side since the start of last season. Corner to defend here, which is easily done by Kai Havertz at the near post. Here is Burak Yilmaz. Stood up nicely and easy enough for Edu Mendy to make the gather. One of a number of the Chelsea players who have plied their trade in France before.
Just saw Thiago Silva there barking his orders. Unhappy actually that the cross was allowed to come in so easily. He was, I felt, imperious in the first leg. So controlled, so composed on the ball.
He says he's really enjoying his time at Chelsea. Kovacic enjoying that pass forwards. Pulisic couldn't quite work it on towards Kai Havertz. Here is Gudmundsson. 3 in yellow for company, but he's come away with it well. Need a fast start, Lille. Yilmaz, not a great pass from him, straight down the throat of Alonso. Will be interesting to see how that 3-man midfield of Jorginho, Conte and Kovacic operate. Looks at the moment as though Jorginho is sitting the deeper of the trio.
Yeah, it does. Conte and Kovacic given that licence to get forward. Kai Havertz just dropping into the hole.
As he has done here, and he's won the free kick as well, Kai Havertz.
He's been in great form. Kai Havertz of late, leading the line well, in the team ahead of Romelu Lukaku. The system they're playing tonight, he could easily have picked the 2 of them together. Decided to go with Pulisic alongside him.
Thiago Silva. Here is Jorginho, stabbed forwards by Azpilicueta. Havertz kept his feet well, Botman for company. Havertz can't get past him, think it came off Havertz last as well.
Good defending from Sven Botman. Excellent tackle, and it did indeed come off Havertz last. Not exactly sitting in deep, Chelsea. You know, I thought that they'd be a little bit more defensive, but Azpilicueta and Alonso both playing quite high up. And in wide areas, it's an area that Lille could have some joy. If they're going to play 4-4-2, they could have the extra man in those wide areas.
Yilmaz has gone down here.
Stamped on the top of the foot from Azpilicueta. That's a sore one.
Thomas Tuchel has experience of facing Lille in the past. In fact, he and Jocelyn Gourvenec have come up against each other twice before, both matches coming in January of 2019. Gourvenec was actually in charge of Guingamp then. They were 2-1 winners at Paris Saint-Germain, a cup quarter-final tie at the start of the month. So 10 days later, Tuchel's Paris won 9-0 at the Parc des Princes, their biggest home win in Liga. Certainly want to try and inject some energy into the start. They actually started the first leg at Stamford Bridge pretty well after Chelsea had an excellent opening 10 minutes, but that was with Renato Sanchez pulling the strings in midfield. He certainly stepped up to the plate in that game and created a handful of decent openings for them. You just wonder where that creativity may come from this evening.
Yeah, I know Thomas Tuchel actually was impressed with them, impressed with their performance, said they were aggressive, they were direct.
Mendy lift it too high. Jocelyn Gourvenec was also talking about how they needed to treat this as if it was a game against Paris Saint-Germain. Similar kind of mentality that they have shown when they've managed to upset the odds against them. Defied expectations to get to this stage. Nobody thought that they would finish top of their group. Never mind being written off.
Yeah, not after 3 games. They won the last 3 to get into the last 16. I was actually looking at the great games that they had in the group stage at home. Drew 2 of them 0-0, 1-1, 1-0. None of those would be good enough, of course, to get through tonight. So that fast start you talked about is so vital to them. Get that early goal.
Just in case you're not aware, because it is still a relatively recent change, no away goals. Here's Yilmaz, meanwhile, trying to find a goal, and it hits Thiago Silva and goes behind. It was certainly travelling from Burak Yilmaz. That was a chance.
It was good pressure in midfield. I know Thomas Tuchel was praising Lille for their high press, and that was great work, winning the ball back. Chelsea trying to play out from the back. It opened up nicely for Yilmaz.
In from Bamba. Again, doesn't clear the first man. That's 2 corners now that they've not really tested Chelsea with. Conte's header's clever there. Here's Havertz. Running into trouble, but being bailed out by the whistle.
You see Thiago Silva playing that ball into Jorginho, and 3 men around him quite quickly, and it did open up nicely. Terrific block from Thiago Silva. Arms behind his back, just making sure that he doesn't handle it.
Well, he and Jonathan David were the driving force behind the title win for Lille last season. It's not been anywhere near as prolific for them this term, but perhaps they've got a big turn in them tonight. Rudiger under pressure. Here's Alonso. And again, the home fans can feed off that. Andre, here's Bamba, Yilmaz, neatly done. Xhaka, over goes Jonathan David, that's a free kick, it might be a card as well.
Slightly over-eager, wasn't he, Andreas Christensen? Jorginho nicked the ball. Could only divert it into the path of Jonathan David, and you'll see just tries to nick it in front of him, just catches his heel.
Well, it's in a good area. Kept yet another clean sheet in the Champions League in the first leg success. So Gudmundsson and Yilmaz in attendance. Referee getting some advice from the home fans that the Chelsea wall's not back the requisite distance. Still not quite back as far as Davide Massa wants. Finally all set then. Who will strike? It's Yilmaz, and it's a waste.
It's a big ball that Chelsea have assembled, and it's a difficult one for him. Mendy had it covered anyway. There's Piliqueta lying down behind in case he went under the wall.
The cold, hard stats do spell out the size of the task ahead for Lille. A 1-0 loss at Juventus in the group stage this season, one of only 4 in Chelsea's last 27 Champions League matches, and that loss also one of only 2 in their last 20 European away games. Hatem Ben Arfa has experience of playing against Chelsea. He did come on from the bench in the first leg. Cleared by Mendy.
They're quite narrow out of possession, Lille. Worried about Chelsea having that extra man in the middle of the pitch.
Mendy nearly played into trouble. David was sniffing around. Chelsea have come away with it. Here's Havertz. That's not a great pass from him, though. And Chelsea haven't really hit their stride early on, in contrast to the first leg, when they started like an absolute train and could easily have been 3 up.
It's different, isn't it, tonight? Already 2 goals ahead. They know that they've got to try and quieten the crowd as much as possible, try and control the game, try and contain Lille. It's been a slow start from them.
Their patchy league form continued on Friday evening when they were held to a goalless draw at home by struggling St Etienne, but it was another clean sheet for them. They've kept 5 in a row now in Liga. That's what their title-winning season was built on last term as well, so perhaps that defensive steel is starting to return. Conte. That's Piliqueta. Loose from Conte. Font going all the way back. First real touch for Leo Jardim. And now the flag is up.
Well done that, Chelsea. Long balls from back to front. Antonio Rudiger putting that ahead of Yilmaz.
Now Jorginho into Pulisic. First real foray forwards for Chelsea. Pulisic dug out the cross well. Lille dealt with it well, and now Yilmaz is tugged over by Jorginho. And perhaps a warning, no more of those, or else you'll get a card the colour of your shirt.
Not too much in it, but it's a foul. It's actually a good foul from Jorginho to give away. Stop that counter-attack.
You mentioned, didn't you, Matt, that Thomas Tuchel said that he thought Lille played well at Stamford Bridge. He said they were physical, attacked high up the pitch. It was actually quite impressive, and one of the major things was their pressing game, because they were very brave in that respect, and they've tried to get on the front foot early on this evening, as they have to do against the reigning champions.
It's been an encouraging start from them. They're playing at a high tempo, not allowing Chelsea to settle.
Tuchel also just hinting at the fact that his side played Sunday. Lille were in action on Friday. That's not a bad ball in. Goodmanson was hunting for it, but Mendy can gather.
Plenty of experience, though, in that Chelsea back line as well. Azpilicueta, Thiago Silva, Rudiger, the goalkeeper.
Gauging the mood in the French media, there was a belief that Lille could shake Chelsea up a little bit and give them a run for their money, that this wasn't a foregone conclusion. Alonso for Jorginho. Pulisic. Wrestled off him by Botman. No foul. Goodmanson, who has got pace, gives Christensen the run around and then gets the corner. No, goal kick in fact, but there we saw his attacking instincts. In the first leg, Jallo was preferred because he was a bit more defensively minded, but Goodmanson getting high up there.
He's attacked well actually down that left-hand side. Chelsea claiming a foul at the other end. I'm not sure it was again too much in that. Pulisic overran the ball a fraction.
Chelsea did face French opposition on their way to winning the Champions League last season. Victorious home and away against Rennes. Azpilicueta taking his time. Kovacic, met by Botman, out for a Chelsea throw.
Senior pro, using his experience, Cesar Azpilicueta.
Christensen. Havertz turns to chase. Dealt with by Jallo. Jocelyn Gourvenec agreed with Thomas Tuchel, said he thought his side played well in the first leg. Thought it was a decent split in terms of the share of possession, but offensively they weren't dangerous enough. Said they need to be more clinical and make Chelsea defend their own penalty area more often, but as we've said before, the absence of Renato Sanchez will make that a lot easier said than done. Jallo. Seen too much going through the middle of the pitch so far.
No, I think that they're trying to defend. They are trying to defend the centre of the pitch where Chelsea are strong. When they win it, they're trying to spread the ball into wide areas where they're hoping they've got the extra man. If Alonso and Azpilicueta get isolated,
Botman is Jose Font. Celik touched off by Bamba, who gets it back now. Couldn't quite wriggle it on to Zeki Celik. He said winning against Newcastle on Sunday was a question of mentality, resilience and physicality for his side, which is the kind of thing that makes any coach in the world particularly happy with his players.
And a goal of real quality as well from Kai Havertz. Touch and finish absolutely sublime.
A four-man in front of goal at the moment, Kai Havertz. And for the big occasion as well, the winner in the Champions League final last season, the Club World Cup final, that pressure penalty, goal that could well be important for their top four hopes in the Premier League this season against Newcastle, as Matt says. been the easiest start to his Chelsea career. Conte gives away an easy free kick on Thiago Giallo.
He's been a bit sloppy in possession actually a couple of times in N'Golo Conte. Playing and drifting out to that right-hand side a fair bit in the early stages.
Offside. Jorginho has to be careful and has done very well. Conte helps it on. There was a foul in there. Referee plays on. It's Azpilicueta. Only Pulisic in the area for now. Lille have forced Chelsea to retreat.
That was brilliant from Jorginho. Under pressure, 2 men around him, calm and got himself out of a tight situation. He always wants the ball, no matter whether he's marked or not.
Kovacic on the charge here. Promising for Chelsea. Pulisic back to Alonso. Here is Jorginho, who couldn't make it stick that time. And all of a sudden, Jonathan David leading the charge. And he's found Yilmaz as well. David in the centre. And the ball in is nowhere near him.
I wonder whether the flag might have gone up anyway on Yilmaz. Typical, isn't it? Effusive with your praise for Jorginho, and then he gives it away. And then they try and counter. With the hit, the cross, Yilmaz. Chelsea were quick to get bodies back, actually, as well.
Well, it was such a tall order for Jocelyn Gourvenec to come in after losing a number of key players over the summer. And, replacing the title-winning coach. I've picked up a bit domestically, but still a long way off the top.
Plenty to do if they're going to try and qualify for the Champions League next season.
Zeki Çelik. Jose Font, who saw L'Équipe describe as rust-proof, given that he has played every minute in the League and the Champions League this season, despite being 38 years young. Are you happy with being called rust-proof?
That is some effort. Yeah, I'd take it if I was still playing the Champions League at 38.
Rudiger. Chelsea perhaps just riding that early storm from Lille. And now looking for Havertz, who's got the run on Botman, who recovers to guide home to Leo Jardim.
I think if you're Thomas Tuchel, you're looking at the clock, first objective, quarter of the game gone, and it's goalless. It's a disciplined start from Chelsea.
Just putting the ball out here after Christensen seemed to land awkwardly.
Heavy fall. Yilmaz sees him, just backs in, tries to just nudge Christensen. Good news, back on his feet.
Tuchel describing Cesar Azpilicueta and Marcos Alonso as specialists when talking about his selection for this evening and the formation. Not too special in possession there, though, Chelsea. Here goes Yilmaz, who overruns it himself. Kovacic. Oh, wonderful work to slalom his way through. Pulisic. Havertz waits. Pulisic for Kai Havertz, who couldn't get the touch he was hoping for.
Mateo Kovacic and N'Golo Conte are brilliant at that. You know, it might on paper look quite a defensive midfield, but they do take the opposition out of the game by driving forward. They carry the ball so well.
Starting to click into gear a bit more now, Chelsea. Havertz hoping and not getting the free kick. Here's Kovacic. Now it's Alonso. Rudiger.
I think already 25 minutes in, you're looking at Lille and they can't press continually. They want to try and press high up the pitch. It's just impossible to do it for 90 minutes. Particularly if Chelsea are going to keep the ball as they are doing now.
Jorginho. Just feels that there are a few more gaps emerging for Chelsea to exploit now. Azpilicueta into Conte, back for Jorginho. Rudiger gives him the option. Now Alonso. Rudiger lifted towards Conte, met by Font, cleared by Celik. Not into an ideal area though, and Kovacic has it back. Pulisic offloading to Alonso. Decent ball in that, nearly came the way of Pulisic on the rebound and Conte with the foul, but that was a really good period for Chelsea.
Yeah, it was. Dangerous ball in as well across that 6-yard box. I think Azpilicueta's in there as well. One wing back to the other. He's the one that almost gets on the end of it.
Seeing a lot of the ball. Zeki Celik. Rudiger's there. So it's Celik again. Oh, and he gets a little bit lucky there, Zeki Celik.
I think he's right, the referee, because I think Kovacic does catch him. The reason why the foul's given.
Happy with the general performance so far, but they need goals.
The noise is just dampened slightly as well. Such a hectic opening to the game.
Silva is shoved over. Knew what he was up to there.
That's brilliant again from Thiago Silva. He's read the game so well over many years. Chelsea's a rare foray into Lille territory. Slightly overhit from Pulisic to Havertz. Not sure Havertz was particularly expecting it.
Font. Too much on that for Bamba to do anything with. Rudiger met it. Bamba's there this time. Yilmaz after it, and his fellow wily campaigner Thiago Silva is there. Historically, once Chelsea get their noses in front in the Champions League, they go on to get the business done. They've gone through on 9 of the 11 occasions they've won the first leg of a tie-in. The exceptions being Barcelona in the quarter-finals in 2000 and Liverpool in that 2007 semi-final encounter. They might be off the pace in the Premier League. They've been doing a decent job in knockout competitions. Of course, only lost the League Cup final on penalties to Liverpool. They're through to the last 8 of the FA Cup in England and are Club World Cup champions too. Alonso with the header, collected by Kovacic. Pulisic to Mendy eventually. Christensen. Havertz has managed to force the throw.
Well, to the second favourite for that. Enough of a presence to force the mistake.
Thomas Tuchel said that they knew it was going to be a 4-4-2 from Lille this evening. They were ready for a fluid, aggressive and direct team. They seem to have dealt with that threat pretty well after a bright start from Lille, which has faded as the half has gone on.
Game plan's working well for Thomas Tuchel. Half an hour in, it's not as if Edouard Mendy's had too much to do in the Chelsea goal.
That's going to be a free kick for the challenge on Thiago Giallo, who made up such good ground to get up there.
He's had a couple of blows, hasn't he, Christensen? That heavy fall. He was involved in another incident just after that. This is a worry. There's options on the bench. Malang Sarr, Trevor Chalobah.
He's chasing a record this evening, Thomas Tuchel. He's won 31 of his 49 Champions League matches. Zinedine Zidane holds the record for wins in his first 50 games as a manager in the tournament with 31, so he can tip him to that, but he has got other things on his mind here, with Chalobah perhaps being ready to come on for Andreas Christensen.
It doesn't look good for him.
Chalobah did start at the weekend in that late victory over Newcastle United, and he's definitely coming on here as the international sign for substitution is made. But that was as part of a back four at the weekend, so slightly different system, but one that he's played in before.
Actually, I think better in there as part of the three. Last-minute instructions.
Gone old school and have got it on paper.
Maybe the iPad's run out of charge.
Well, so far so good in terms of the plan for Thomas Tuchel. Half-time coming into view and the 2-0 aggregate advantage still intact. No handball. But Fonta's got the ball back for Lille anyway. Zeki Celik. Not enough on that pass for Bamba, who's then fouled Alonso. Should give Chelsea the chance to make the change.
They'll just slot in on the right side of that back three.
Pulisic can quite angle on towards Azpilicueta. Xhaka with a good turn. Decent pass as well into Andre. Andre sending David slightly wide. Chalobah given the runaround with his first piece of action since coming on, and then committing the foul, which is going to earn him a yellow card within minutes of his introduction.
Welcome to the game. First thing he has to do, he gets wrong, gets beaten too easily, tries to make amends for the mistake. Can only bring his man down. Grab of the shirt. Fortunately for him, it's just outside the area. Nice skill from David.
So a booking for Chalapar and a free kick for Chelsea to defend. Lille have not made the most of their set-piece opportunities so far. Goodmanson's waiting on the edge of the area here. Nobody in yellow's picking him up as of yet. Clipped in, and Mendy gets a hand to it. Back in once again by David. Not convincing defending from Chelsea. They're asking for handball in there. Might be the first time that Massimiliano Irati, the VAR, gets involved tonight. David. Conte into Jorginho, who's looking to release Havertz here. Neatly back to Pulisic, and now play is stopped.
This is interesting. This means that they're checking for a potential handball, and the fact that they've stopped play suggests that this might well be given. It's Jorginho, who just pushes his arm down on the ball. And I think he could be in trouble. See, there's a clear movement of the arm to the ball. His arm's up, unnatural position, and then there's a movement to the ball. I know the distance is quite close, but you could tell of the reaction of the Lille players straight away. They felt it was a penalty.
Massimiliano Irati has informed his compatriot, Davide Massa, that he should go and have a look at the monitor. Obviously, he didn't get a decent look at it because it was at quite close quarters.
I think there's enough there to suggest that this is going to be given.
Hasn't needed to see it too many times, and I think we know what's coming next. It's a Lille penalty, and it's an avenue back into the tie for the home side. Disappointment for Jorginho. And now, Edu Mendy is the man in the spotlight.
Just saying, what am I supposed to do? Well, not put your arm to the ball. That'd be a start.
When will they learn that it's not going to change his mind?
It's just a bit of gamesmanship, just trying to delay the taking of the kick so that Yilmaz has longer to think about it.
So Burak Yilmaz making his first start since mid-February with the pressure penalty to give Lille a foothold in the tie. It's Yilmaz, and it's a goal. And Lille are back to within one goal of Chelsea. They've made a lot of noise before the game. It gets even louder now. Real hope and belief amongst those home supporters, thanks to Burak Yilmaz's successful spot kick.
Well, the delay didn't affect him. That is a wonderful penalty, right in the corner. There isn't a keeper in the world that could save this. It is right in the corner. Brilliant, under pressure. That is a fantastic finish. Now then, we have a game.
Conte. Well, you'd say Chelsea could probably do with getting to half-time now, with it being just the 1-0. Jorginho, is he caught there by Andre? Referee says yes.
That noise that had just dampened slightly, it's back, and back with a bang. The place is bouncing. Chelsea haven't really looked in too much danger. It's them giving the goal away rather than Lille earning it.
Long from Jose Font. Rudiger wins the header against Yilmaz, but here's Celik. Swept across by Andre. Jeka. Fizzed across looking for Yilmaz, cut out though by Alonso. Chelsea on the move now with Kovacic. He says he was caught. Referee happy for play to go on. Goodmanson. Now Giallo. Bamber. Jose Font. Giallo under pressure, opts to go back to Botman. Zeki Celik. Yilmaz is offside.
It's happened too many times, I think. Chelsea keeping that high line. Mind you, it's his goal. It separates the sides on the night. Jorginho's hand, guilty. Some penalty.
Turns 37 in the summer, the Turkish forward. That's his third goal in 7 Champions League appearances this season. His compatriot Celik. Goodmanson. Under pressure from Azpilicueta. And from Havertz, and he's lost it as well, and brings down Kai Havertz just outside the area. Well, he's not known for his defensive durability, Gabriel Goodmanson, and that was on show there.
Very similar actually to Chalobah at the other end, and again just outside the box. Both men have fallen into it, but foul committed outside the area.
And a pretty needless free kick to concede as half-time approaches. Alonso's hit it straight into the two-man wall. Chelsea get a corner, but they may have expected a bit more than that.
Yeah, disappointing from Marcus Alonso, usually so reliable.
Gets another bite of the cherry from the corner, Alonso. And again, can't find anyone in yellow. Pulisic's done well to guide it back to Kovacic. On now for Alonso.
Not happy, Thomas Tuchel, obviously conceding the goal. But also the fact that they've probably not asked enough questions of Lille defensively. They've kept a fair bit of possession, and up until the goal, they actually, you could say they were controlling things. But even so, I still think you'd want a little bit more in forward areas.
Final minute of normal time in the first half. And Lille on the front foot. Bamba. Celik had made a clever run there, but David goes back to Font. Has made the run here. Rudiger can't get to him, but David can't guide it to Bamba. Alonso. Don't think you can begrudge Lille the 1-0 lead that Ruslan Gourvenec's men are set to take in at the break.
No, I agree. I think they're the ones that have shown the attacking intent. The ones that have gone at Chelsea. Chelsea have had a lot of the ball, not done too much with it. Seems to be a 5 and a 3, and then a big gap actually to the front two. Better from Pulisic coming to link it.
Chalobah. Thiago Silva. Is Rudiger. Alonso is a bit telegraphed, which allowed Celik to nip in and hassle and harry him. Pulisic scampers after that one. The bounce was a little bit awkward for Botman. Shaka diving in. David. Right. Pick it up the other side of Jorginho. Here's Conte. Azpilicueta. Familiar feeling this for Chelsea in the Champions League. Conte. Celik's given that straight to Jorginho. Azpilicueta asking for it. Jorginho. Rudiger. Rudiger with the carry. Now it's Alonso. Last minute of additional time. There's a wall of red in front of them, though, that Chelsea are finding it hard to penetrate. Jorginho has managed to pick the lock here. Pulisic! Oh, that is brilliant! Chelsea level on the night. And with a 2-goal lead in the tie once again. After Thomas Tuchel's men managed to find a way through, and Pulisic guided the ball through.
Oh, it's a moment of real quality, the pass and the finish. Ever since going behind, they've stepped it up, Chelsea. Kept the ball well. It's a wonderful pick out from Jorginho. And what a finish. Arrows it into that bottom corner. The perfect response to going behind. Coolly guides it into the back of the net. Brings Chelsea level.
Well, a big goal that arrives at such a big time in the tie as well, the cusp of half-time. Won't be much more action in the half, that is that, and it's a sucker punch for Lille, who were good value at the break through the penalty from Burak Yilmaz, but they were caught cold by a fabulous pass from Jorginho and a measured finish from Pulisic, who also scored in the first leg of the tie. So Chelsea back into a position of relative comfort in this Champions League tie. 1-1 on the night. They lead 3-1 on aggregate.
This match is brought to you by Friendlies, UEFA Champions League sponsor.
Hogan, Steve Austin, The Undertaker, The Rock, John Cena, Roman Reigns, Charlotte Flair, Becky Lynch, and more. From blockbuster legends to blockbuster superstars. Watch WWE Blockbusters at 8 every night. Only on Sony 10.1 and Sony 10.3.
साम दाम दंड भेद कोई नीति नहीं अपनाएंगे।
एक चीज तुम लोग दिल और दिमाग में फिट कर लो।
कर हौसला बुलंद, हर मुकाबला आजमाएंगे।
अब तो असली जलवा दिखाना ही पड़ेगा।
कोई आ ना सके आड़े, ऐसा रंग जमाएंगे। मैक्स दीवाना बना दे। When two of your fiercest rivals draw daggers at each other, well, sit back, relax, and watch the carnage. Simple pleasures of a cricket fan. Australia tour of Pakistan. Third test, Monday 21st March, 10:30 a.m.
Hulk Hogan, Steve Austin, The Undertaker.
It was a script not given to the Chelsea players as Burak Yilmaz, starting for the first time since February, gave Lille the lead. But right at the stroke of half-time, the disappointment written all over the Lille players' faces as Chelsea equalized pretty much with that last kick of that first half. It is 1-1 on the night. Chelsea, of course, with a 3-1 aggregate score lead. And in our other game, Juventus and Villarreal, no goals so far. That seems to be headed into extra time as things stand right now. But we're going to focus on a featured match here on Sony 10.2. No one gave Lille a chance. David, I'm going to start with you. They did start off on the brighter foot, if I may say so. And the goal was something you feel they may have deserved?
Not at all. No, let's be right. They're at home. They're chasing the game. You expect them to put up some kind of attack against Chelsea. But what I did say, Arpit, even though I did predict 2-0, was that what this team have done recently is benefited from mistakes. And that is a defensive mistake, albeit by Jorginho. The handball without the handball, it's 0-0. It's a wonderful penalty. But yeah, I mean, that's where Lille have been successful, I think, in recent weeks, where the opposition have basically gifted them goals. So can't legislate for that.
Okay. Now, they got the goal courtesy, the penalty did go to VAR. I would be surprised if a lot of people disagree in terms of it being a penalty. But Ashley, I come to you. There were changes in the formation. There were changes in the players as well. Chelsea, did you feel sometimes were maybe not as clinical as you expect them to be in terms of passing the ball and keeping possession?
Yeah, I mean, it was a little bit sloppy, but at the end of the day, they were cautious, weren't they? They were cautious with their approach. That's what a 2-0 scoreline does to you. The managers will say, it's half-time, let's pretend, let's approach it if it's 0-0. They never did, and you've seen that in his selection. They were standing as a back five to obviously make sure they didn't get broken down, but you can see, a little bit of poor in possession, if you like. The odd stray pass here, that was Conte guilty that side. This is in the final third. You'd expect them to do better than that, getting caught under the feet. Sometimes that can also happen with travel, with obviously coming away from home, not settling into the occasion so much, and it looked a little bit rusty without being catastrophic. It was always going to be small margins. It was going to be the deadlock, which happened to be a penalty. You see Christensen there, he ended up getting injured after he gave the ball away, which is not great for him. But just a cautious approach, and maybe that's come into their play and why they were giving the odd pass away.
Now, the 3-5-2, there was often quite a few gaps between the two up front and the 3 and the 5 there. But it would have been an entirely different conversation we would be having right now, Nizar, if it weren't for literally the last kick of that first half. Because in terms of the mood inside the dressing room as well, it just changes things, doesn't it?
Yeah, it was a bit against the run of play, I would say. It's not like Chelsea have created a whole lot in this game, but, that's the quality of the European champions. They can find a moment. It's a bit like the last minute of the Newcastle game, isn't it? Jorginho, again, great pass, through ball, first time finish with Christian Pulisic, and he's been in good form too. So, yeah, the link up between those two, excellent for that goal. And yeah, sickening for Lille. I do feel almost sorry for them.
Now, Jorginho, of course, with that error, with the penalty handball given, but what a delicious assist there for Pulisic. The 3-5-2, we mentioned it quite a few times in the build-up to the match as well. David, do you see any flaws? Do you see anything that should change, or are you okay with things stand? Because even at 1-0 Lille, it was still Chelsea going through.
Yeah, I think the change, and what I have to say, while I was setting up to go here, I missed the last couple of minutes before the goal. Nizar will probably, or Ash will probably know better, but it looked like Pulisic was more on the right-hand side. I thought the system worked. Pulisic was getting in good positions on the left, but he just wasn't looking offensive. He was knocking the ball back, and we showed a highlight there. You showed a highlight there where Chelsea lost possession. On the right-hand side, natural shot across the box. And then you get the goal. So I don't think there'll be any change in personnel. I just think he'll have Pulisic more attacking down the right-hand side, and they'll open this little side up.
He did also mention the fact that he had lesser days to prepare for this one. So maybe a lot of thought went into how they would eventually play this match out. As things stand, they are on level terms on the night. In our other match here on Sony 10-1, Juventus versus Villarreal, the aggregate scoreline still stands at 1-1. The onus, Ashley, is on Juventus in this one, isn't it?
Yeah, it's obviously been the home side, in form as well. But Villarreal are a possession-based side and just shaded the possession, although Juventus have had the more attempts. You see there across that almost on another occasion, Morata gets on the end of Corrado. He's causing a little bit of havoc down the right-hand side. Great delivery there. Morata again getting on the end of it. And this was a good moment, Vahajlovic pulling in that little space down the sides of the central defenders, cuts in and out, fantastic left foot. And a regulation save, I would say. Maybe David disagree with me. And that is a fantastic save by the crossbar there in the last minute. But I think this is a fairly even game, like I've mentioned, with Villarreal just sharing possession. But I think it was 8 attempts to Juventus to the 4 of Villarreal. So Juventus a little bit more clinical without finding the back of the net.
Every passing minute will make the fans very nervous, especially the way they have exited the last 2 times at home because of the away goals rule. Nizar, the Chelsea fans, you think will still be as not nervous like you mentioned before the first half kicked off?
Well, I think maybe the first 5 minutes, if they keep it a bit solid and play a bit better than they did in the first half, then they'll be confident. But hey, Lille really unsettled Chelsea there. I thought they were excellent, and yeah, maybe a bit less confident than they were before kickoff, I'd say.
All right. Well, thanks a lot, Nizar, again for joining us. Ash and David, as always, stick around for a little while longer. It's been an interesting first half, to say the least. Chelsea with their first shot on target, getting the equaliser right at the stroke of half-time. Burak Yilmaz, who started in a two-man attack for Lille, was responsible for converting the penalty. But Chelsea have not looked their strong self as they usually do on the pitch. But it doesn't matter right now, as on an aggregate scoreline, they are making it through. Can the French team change it in the second half? We'll find out after this break.
साम दाम दंड भेद कोई नीति नहीं अपनाएंगे।
ये चीज तुम लोग दिल और दिमाग में फिट कर लो।
कर हौसला बुलंद, हर मुकाबला आजमाएंगे।
अब तो असली जलवा दिखाना ही पड़ेगा।
कोई आ ना सके आड़े, ऐसा रंग जमाएंगे। मैक्स दीवाना बना दे।
Steve Austin, The Undertaker, The Rock, John Cena, Roman Reigns, Charlotte Flair, Becky Lynch, and more. From blockbuster legends to blockbuster superstars. Watch WWE Blockbusters at 8 every night. Only on Sony 10.1 and Sony 10.3.
FA Cup quarter-final, Middlesbrough versus Chelsea, Saturday 19th March, 10:45 PM, live on Sony Sports Network.
This match is brought to you by Friendlies, UEFA Champions League sponsor.
Welcome back. Some of the Chelsea players still having a conversation with the referee about the handball there. Ashley, any changes you foresee quickly in the second half?
Well, they've got a substitution, haven't they? They've got Mason Mount that can come off the bench and be attacking. I think, for me, they'll still be quite cautious. They're going through. I don't think the game plan will change too much. Maybe a bit of fresh legs looking at the fixture pile-up, if you like, or the activity coming and the travel. But tactical, I don't see there being too many changes tactically. And then we see, obviously, Mount about to come on.
Wow, just as you said it, called it, Mason Mount is coming on. David, slight nervousness about the yellow card for Chalobah?
Yeah, do you know what? I'm just going to say that because after his performance on the weekend and the way that he started, granted, just come on a sub straight away, he's into the action. But if I'm Lille now, I'm saying just get at him. If it's to draw another foul, potential booking, or whether just to get past him because he's not going to commit himself so much. So I think their way through, or trying to get through in this game is by targeting Chalobah.
Well, it's all to do for the French Mastiffs. Can they score again? Can this man get onto the score sheet again? Let's find out when all the action kicks off in the second half.
It was a pretty lively first half, but the 2 goals were the only shots on target in the first 45 minutes. Lille have scored twice or more in just 3 of their 11 games since the turn of the year. They'll need to make that 4 tonight to have a chance of progressing. What a sickener for him just before the break. Real change in terms of his team talk and game plan, really. Pulisic sniffing around. He's now the top scoring American in Champions League history with 7 goals. He's unbeaten in the previous 6 that he's scored in as well, is Pulisic.
Took it so well. Fabulous ball from Jorginho.
He's also now got the honour of being the first player to score for Chelsea in both legs of a Champions League knockout tie since Didier Drogba did against Liverpool over a decade ago. Chelsea have got themselves a free kick here too.
Mason Mount caught this time. Jose Font late, trying to make the challenge. We saw Trevor Chalobah come on, pick up a yellow card straight away. Mason Mount's just come on and picked up a knock.
So it's going to be Alonso's delivery's been a bit disappointing so far, and it won't even reach anyone in a Chelsea shirt there because there's a foul.
That's pretty better, I think. Just bringing Goodmanson down, a little shove in the back.
Jallo, Botman. Xhaka.
I think with the extra man at the top end of the pitch, you can see the pressure's slightly better from Chelsea already. Engaging higher up the pitch.
They already look a lot more balanced, don't they?
And there's a rotation as well with those 3. See Pulisic now just playing through the middle, Havertz on the right, but they're all capable of playing in all 3 of those positions.
Benjamin Andre, who's not really been able to stamp his mark on the game. Here's Jallo. Jonathan David, that's not where they'll want to see him operating, the Canadian. They need goals, they need him and Yilmaz further up. Alonso. Jorginho. Looking to pick the lock of that back line once again, as he did so well for the Chelsea leveller on the night. Yilmaz. Bamba. Goodmanson now. Looking for Yilmaz, but Chalobah was wise to it.
Lovely touch from Jonathan David in that move.
Yilmaz. Rudiger with the easy header. Not so easy for Pulisic to make anything of it. Alonso's there. Turn into a useful pass for Kai Havertz. Who's in a bit of a wrestle with Botman. Xhaka on the stretch. Collides with N'Golo Kanté.
Let's put that through the legs of N'Golo Kanté. But better pressure from Chelsea already. Not a lot in it, in all areas. Chelsea, of course, held that 2-goal advantage from the first leg.
On the overlap is Celik, who gets it in, and the header is not on target from Jonathan David. Giallo. Goodmanson. Room to work with, trying to create some here. Alonso should deal with it, but hasn't done so. Bamba works it back for Andre. Bamba again. Oh, he's done well, and has got a decent looking ball in. Yilmaz! Mendy was scrambling.
He certainly was. Well, in the space of 60 seconds, Lille have been able to put 3 balls into the box, and it's very unusual that Chelsea don't deal with that well. First, Jonathan David had a clear header, and now Yilmaz, rising above Chalobah, isn't far away. The 2 wing-backs slightly slowing down now, Alonso and Azpilicueta, but they need to do better to stop that ball into the area. It's always going wide, and I think Mendy does know that.
We've seen Chelsea already forced into a change. Lille might have one enforced upon them as well. Burak Yilmaz there now has the honour of being the oldest Turkish goal scorer in Champions League history after that well-taken penalty in the first half. 36 years and 244 days. Celik looks like he's moving okay.
It's the Yilmaz header. But Jonathan David had a clear header, better with his effort.
Case of what might have been across the 2 legs, perhaps, for Kostan Korvanek. That's given away by Pulisic. Here goes Goodmanson. Another fist ball in. Rudiger hesitated. It's no massive damage for Chelsea, and Rudiger's eating up the ground here, and then Sen tried to feed Kai Havertz. Nice idea, but Sven Botman's positioning was excellent. The pass out was not, though, from Jardim, who is very, very fortunate, and this time, understandably, just puts his boot through it.
Gets away with one. And Rudiger just adds a bit of intensity into Chelsea's play. And then it's good pressure from the front 3. That's another worry. He's had a good game, Sven Botman. Is it a kick or a pull? Oh, he's already wincing. That's a pull, and that doesn't look good.
Well, Chelsea played Newcastle at the weekend, and if Newcastle had had their way, he'd have been playing for them in that game. Somebody that they were looking to bring in during the January transfer window, and someone they may well revisit over the summer. Here's Havertz. Alonso. Let's run that out.
Just looking at the reaction of Botman there, I think he's looking at the bench. Yeah, that did look out. There you go.
Yeah.
There's the message.
Botman still moving gingerly and is now really not moving at all well. Great idea to play the ball to him in that situation. But again, the one player you don't want to give it to is the man who can barely walk, and he's now put it straight out of play and put beyond any doubt whether he'll be able to continue.
Well, sensibly kicked it out of play. Last thing you need is to turn the ball over and Chelsea get at you. You can tell straight away, the grimace on his face told you everything you need to know. He's been exceptional.
Well, without Renato Sanchez because of injury before this game after he pulled up in their match on Friday against Saint Etienne, another of their major men is going to be forced off here as well. Not had the rub of the green in terms of player availability for such a big encounter. So we're going to see Timothy Weir, the 22-year-old American, which might mean Goodmanson dropping back into the back four with Weir more of a forward-thinking player. Still down to 10 men for the time being, though, Lille.
Yeah, Goodmanson just filling in at left back right now.
Font has to be quick to try and get there ahead of Mount. Shallows come into the centre to partner Font for the time being. It's Pulisic, though, for Chelsea. Almost managed to thread it across to Kai Havertz. Azpilicueta. Pulisic, here's Azpilicueta again. Chalobah. Chelsea hoping to keep the ball in play for as long as possible with their man advantage. Pulisic. It's a free kick.
Chelsea have upped it. The level's gone up since half-time. Despite scoring late on in that first half, Thomas Tuchel wouldn't have been happy with what he saw, and I'm sure he had a few harsh words for his side in that half-time break. Yilmaz looking for a foul in the build-up, but it didn't look too much in that. But right in front of the referee, I don't think you can have any complaints about that one.
So Botman has been replaced actually by Amadou Onana, and Weir replaces Zeki Çelik, who was also nursing what looked like a bit of a painful blow as well. The Chelsea goal now, and they really can look forward to the draw on Friday.
Slow to organise their wall. It's another hammer blow, isn't it? Losing two of your back four in a period of 2 minutes.
A lot of reorganising to do, but first a free kick to defend. Alonso strikes it, and it's poor. Asking for handball, they don't get that. They normally got a goal on the volley though from on Rudiger's hit goalwards.
What a hit this is. On the half volley, he's running away from goal. That would have been very special.
15 minutes of the second half has fizzled away, and Lille still in need of 2 more goals. Remember, no away goals rule, so if Lille can get 2 more, we will go to extra time and penalties. That's making his presence felt. Thomas Tuchel with some words for those in the dugout area.
His arm's down, isn't it? I mean, he does catch Trevor Chalobah. And Kai Havertz was a little bit fortunate at the weekend against Newcastle when he went across Dan Burn and caught him in the face, picked up a yellow, they checked it for a red.
Before this game and the first leg, Tuchel was saying that he, and by default, because he'd passed on the information, his players were well aware of how physical French football can be, and specifically how physical the attacking players are. Perhaps Burak Yilmaz proving his point.
So no foul.
Chalobah waiting to come on. Thomas Tuchel perhaps waiting for an explanation as to why that wasn't a foul. On we go. Time not on Lille's side. Jose Font. Xhaka.
Just wonder whether they've got enough quality really in that top end of the pitch. We've seen flashes from Bamba and David and obviously Yilmaz.
Here's Weir. Goodmanson. Pulisic busting a gut to get back there. The cross still came in. Mount to Conte. Hurried clearance from him, which will be collected by Amadou Onana. She played as part of the front 3 in the game at Stamford Bridge in the first leg. Didn't do a bad job. Yilmaz has won the corner. And it goes, and off the post. Well, Chelsea caught napping and very, very nearly punished.
What a ball in from Yilmaz. And arriving late from midfield, Xhaka gets there ahead of his teammate. Oh, he's so unlucky.
A warning for Chelsea that the tie is not in the bag yet. Bamba. David Bamba brushed off it off the ball. Space here for Goodmanson. Weir. On it goes from Diallo. Should be easier for Edouard Mendy, but Chelsea not having the most comfortable of times dealing with balls in from out wide.
No, they're not at all. I was about to say, this second half, Lille have delivered some really good balls into the box. Probably 4. Thiago Silva saying we need to lock on. We need to get tighter because they've had a few free headers. Definitely something they've done more of since half-time. Get the ball wide and deliver it into the area. Caused Chelsea a lot of problems.
Well, he's kept the belief going, Jocelyn Gourvenec. And going here is Weir. Across comes Chalobah to deal with it. That came off the youngster last, so it will be Chelsea goal kick.
Tries to settle. I think we have to really credit Lille for this effort. The damage that Pulisic goal would have done to them mentally just before half-time, but they've responded well.
Has been a hugely contrasting campaign compared to their last Champions League appearance. They finished bottom of their group 2 seasons ago, in a group that also included Chelsea, along with Valencia and Ajax. They lost 5 of their 6 games, with a solitary point earned in a 1-1 draw at home to Valencia. But here they are in the knockout stage and giving the holders a real test, despite the fact that Chelsea hold this 2-goal advantage.
They couldn't give any more effort. Really trying to push high up the pitch again. I know that Chelsea want to try and play it out.
Already suggesting that Chelsea are being quite lengthy in their restarts. Mendy trying to plead his case, and in fact suggesting that there may have been something thrown.
I'm amazed at how many spaces there's been in that Chelsea defence at times.
So a quarter of this second leg to play. Chelsea very much in the box seat. Havertz a bit too eager in his challenge there. Onana. Font. Lille without their main playmaker, without 2 of their first choice back 4 now due to injuries sustained in this game. The odds are stacked against them even more than they were before kick-off. Alonso under pressure from Bamba, and illegal pressure.
It feels as though they targeted the 2 Chelsea wing-backs, Azpilicueta and Alonso. Talked about their system 4-4-2 and trying to double up in wide areas. I feel as though they've got the pace to get beyond those 2. Silly from Bamba because he's not really going anywhere, Marcus Alonso.
I saw a vintage away performance from Atletico Madrid in the Champions League last night, when it just kept Manchester United at arm's length as the clock ticked down. Chelsea trying to do that themselves here, or perhaps even more. Azpilicueta. Back it goes to Jorginho. Yilmaz will chase that, but not for very long.
You wouldn't expect Chelsea to be rushing to take every throw-in and free kick, and the ball goes dead.
Thomas Tuchel, he's had a lot on his plate. He's starting to mark down Friday in his diary to see the result of the draw for not just the quarter-finals but the semi-finals as well of the Champions League. Both will take place on Friday.
FA Cup game at the weekend as well. Plenty to play for this season still for Chelsea.
Chelsea away to Middlesbrough of the English second tier in the FA Cup. Checker did well, but Chelsea have it back.
He's annoyed because he thinks that's a foul, and it probably is from Jorginho. Sliding in. I know he didn't actually touch the player, but he had to jump out of his way.
Havertz. It's an excellent switch to pick out Azpilicueta. Sent back to Pulisic. Chalobah. Jorginho. Here's Rudiger. Onto Alonso. Mount made the offer. It's Alonso. Here's Havertz. A lot more cohesion since they went to that 3-4-3. Here's Chalobah. Good burst from him. Azpilicueta was hoping for it. It goes to Conte instead. Pinged by Thiago Silva. Well won by Alonso, and it's broken for Mason Mount. 3 in the area to aim for. And here's Azpilicueta! And that is Chelsea through to the quarter-finals of the Champions League. The holders making safe passage into the last 8 as their skipper delivers what could be the final blow to Lille's hopes in the competition. They battled hard, but Chelsea have shown their class with a couple of very well-crafted goals.
This comes on the back of a good period of possession from Chelsea. It's been, as you quite rightly say, a valiant effort from Lille. But Chelsea have got that little bit of extra quality when needed. Mason Mount off the bench, puts it on a plate for Azpilicueta. Well, I say on a plate, it bounces in front of him. It's an awkward one, and I think it might even come off his knee into the back of the net. But it puts them into the lead, and surely into the next round of the Champions League.
Well, it's only his 4th ever goal in the Champions League for Cesar Azpilicueta. This is his 69th appearance in the competition. And Chelsea now with this, you would say, unassailable 4-1 aggregate lead. It's harsh on Lille. Think about the chance at the other end for Xhaka that came off the post. Instead of being within 1, they have a 3-goal deficit now to make up.
And moments before the goal, we saw the stats. Second half possession, 58%. They had really pushed.
Goodmanson tugged over. Chelsea won't want any unnecessary bookings this evening that might rule out players of the quarter-final, but the only player that is in danger of that is Ruben Loftus-Cheek, who is coming on for a late cameo here.
It's a nice luxury now for Thomas Tuchel to be able to make a couple of changes.
So Lukaku and Loftus-Cheek for Pulisic and Jorginho are the 2 Chelsea changes there.
And I think this is something that Thomas Tuchel will want to look at. Combination of Havertz and Lukaku up top. Can they play together? Can they play in this system?
Lille's only previous taste of the last 16 of the Champions League ended in elimination to English opposition when they were knocked out by Manchester United in 2007, and it is going to be Premier League side prevailing in their latest appearance at this stage of the competition. For those who believe in omens, Chelsea won home and away against the French side on their way to the trophy last season. Rennes were the side that they dispatched. Azpilicueta. taken a knock. Mount. Conte. Numbers forwards here, actually, Chelsea. So towards Lukaku, too much on it for the Belgian to get on the end of. And the attempt there from Goodmanson was to let it roll out for a throw. We've got a clattering from Azpilicueta for his troubles.
It's his goal that has probably ended this game. And it's fine margins, isn't it, at the top level. We think that Lille had that Xhaka chance off the post.
Conte taken off his toes well by Thiago Giallo, who's playing as a makeshift centre-half now.
I'm just saying Xhaka had that chance off the post, and then Chelsea go up the other end and take the lead themselves.
Well, Hatem Ben Arfa, a few tricks up his sleeve. It will need one of the biggest tricks in Champions League history if Lille are to get out of this hole. Lukaku trying to increase the lead for Chelsea, but couldn't find Havertz. But won't get there ahead of Rudiger. Well, a big roll of the dice from Jocelyn Gourvenec, and has to be really a couple of players who have applied their trade in the Premier League, in Hatem Ben Arfa and Angel Gomez. Really happened for Jonathan David this evening. Domagoj Bradaric is the third player coming on. So the triple switch with Lille needing a triple strike to get back level in the tie. Chalobah. This is Azpilicueta. Lukaku couldn't quite make it stick. Xhaka sends it on. Here's Conte. Xhaka nipping in, but Loftus-Cheek has shielded it well.
I guess if there's a consolation, there's no away goals rule this year. So
just the 3 they need in 12 minutes.
It's just the 3 rather than 4.
Loftus-Cheek, Conte, got a room here for Havertz to work with, and Havertz has had a dip, and it's disappointing. Leo Jardim able to field that one very easily.
Yeah, worth an effort from Havertz. I think Lukaku made a decent run though, was hoping to get slipped in. Just feels as though this game's done now, don't you? The wind taken out of the sails of the Lille players. That Azpilicueta goal has really finished this off as a tie.
Azpilicueta's first Champions League goal since December 2019, when he scored against Lille.
Stamford Bridge, I think. Chelsea won here as well, didn't they? 2-1.
Yeah, beat them home and away 2 seasons ago. Chelsea set to continue this really good record in the Champions League. So tough to beat in this competition.
been far from comfortable for them, but they're going to get the job done. That's the most important thing. They're in the hat on Friday.
He goes where? Angel Gomez. Ben Arfa. Checker. Yilmaz. Round the corner for Yilmaz again, and just ran away from him as he tried to get the shot off. Ben Arfa, who can make things happen. Can't make anything happen there.
Rushed clearance from Trevor Chalobah put Chelsea in trouble. Quetta, the skipper, using his experience and his body to see that ball out of play.
A draw for the quarter-final, semi-final, and to find out who'll be the home and away team in the final is at midday Central European time on Friday. Chelsea joining Atletico, Bayern, Benfica, Liverpool, Manchester City and Real Madrid. It's quite a cast. Radoric waits to take the throw. Lille supporters milking the final 8 and a bit minutes of their Champions League journey this season.
Well, I think they can appreciate the effort of their players. No lack of effort. They've just come up against a good team.
And it was a good half-time tweak from Thomas Tuchel as well, as he gets ready to make another alteration, with Hakim Ziyech being brought on.
Yeah, I think he recognised that they hadn't caused Lille enough problems the other way. Whilst they'd had a lot of possession and played it quite comfortably through the back three and into midfield, there was too big a gap to get to the front players. And by bringing on an extra man, it got a little bit more pressure up the pitch, started to create a little bit more. Definitely, you felt suited Chelsea better, that system, the second half.
Here's Azpilicueta. Loftus-Cheek, Conte, Ziyech involved. Loftus-Cheek got that wrong. It's Angel Gomez. So a foul from Conte, Checker. Chelsea had been regularly stumbling at this stage before they won the competition last year, going out in the round of 16 on 4 successive occasions before they saw off Atletico Madrid last term. They've got the job done with a bit to spare this time around too. Radoric. Here's where. Ben Arfa. Where? Forced to go the long way round. And it's picked out Thiago Giallo. Stood up by Alonso, but has found a way past him. Giallo straight into Rudiger. Looked like he'd done the hard work there by getting past Alonso.
That's an important block from Rudiger, because Xhaka had made another really good run into the box from midfield, like he did for that header off the post.
Chalobah. Forwards from Chalobah, but easy for Jardim.
That's a poor ball from Chalobah. Lukaku just wanting that on his chest, just dropped in.
Angel Gomez. This victory this evening means that the only defeat in Chelsea's last 23 games in all competitions was 1-0 to the current Premier League leaders Manchester City in mid-January. It's not a bad run, is it? Ben Arfa looking for somebody in red to pass to. Bradaric, heavy touch from him. He's got it back from Loftus-Cheek. Nana for Jose Font. Thiago Silva can deal with that easily enough. Here's Rudiger. Conte. Coolly done. Mount. Conte. This is good game management from Chelsea, even with that emphatic aggregate advantage, just continuing to take the sting out of the game and run down the clock.
The Azpilicueta goal was the one. They knew then that they were through.
Lille looking to finish with a flourish, though. Weir gets the corner out of Alonso.
Yeah, try and finish with a bit of pride. Don't lose the game.
That's from that side that they created the chance for Xhaka, but Chelsea a bit more switched on this time around. Mind you, still got his head to it.
Not enough pace on the cross. He was going away from goal as well. European journey coming to an end for Lille.
Well, they were one of European football's surprise packages last season when they upset the odds to win the Liga title, and they raised a few eyebrows by coming through top of their Champions League group this season as well. The aggregate scoreline doesn't tell the full story across the two ties.
No, I think it's been closer than 4-1. I know Chelsea won that first leg 2-0 and it was reasonably comfortable. Tonight it's been a real test for them.
So it's going to be 6 straight wins against French sides for Chelsea. Having beaten Rennes home and away last season to follow up on those back-to-back wins over Lille in the prior Champions League campaign. Conte. Mount. Alonso. Crunched by Jose Font. Well, job done for Thomas Tuchel and Chelsea. Had 2.5 years in France with Paris Saint-Germain, of course. Faced Lille 5 times while he was in charge of them. 3 wins, 1 draw and 1 defeat. Well, and another couple of victories as Chelsea boss to that list. Here's Azpilicueta. Ziyech couldn't quite turn into space. It's a foul by Yilmaz on Loftus-Cheek.
It's been a good last 10 minutes from Chelsea. Really professional. The sting has gone out of the game, but they're keeping the ball really well.
Azpilicueta. Four additional minutes, but it is academic now as both sides go through the motions. That's a really good pass, mind you, from Ziyech. Alonso onto it, Lukaku waiting, Anana in the way. Well, it was a brilliant ball from Ziyech, and I think disappointing, really, that Alonso didn't do better.
Absolutely fabulous ball from Ziyech. Maybe just bounced in front of Alonso, which made it more difficult for him, but still would have expected a better ball to Lukaku.
Mount. Conte. Loftus-Cheek. And again. N'Golo Conte. He's got numbers up here. Slips it through. Alonso. Good block. Leo Jardim out to spread himself well. That really would have been harsh on Lille. Mount gets it in. Jardim gets there once more.
Excellent goalkeeping. Very quick off his line.
Gomez. Nice turn from the former Manchester United youngster. Radoric. Gomez again. Well, they're making a real racket late on the home supporters, but they haven't stopped making noise all evening.
I think they can be very proud of their team's performance. They're going to ultimately fall short, but it's been a valiant effort from them. There's been some effort from them as well, the supporters. They've really done their best to make this a hostile atmosphere for Chelsea.
Determined to enjoy the final few minutes of Champions League football that they'll see this season, and given their league position, probably for at least another campaign after this as well. A lot of talk about how he would deal with out the likes of James and Chilwell, but Alonso and Azpilicueta have proven that he's got some very able players in that department.
Oh, reliable, absolutely. A bit more dynamic though, aren't they, Reece James and Ben Chilwell? And I think if he was to have everybody fit and he was picking a team for the Champions League final, it'd be James and Chilwell that got the nod.
Won by Azpilicueta. Mount finds Lukaku. Romelu Lukaku. It's going to be a free kick.
Just outside.
Took his time before making his mind up. Chelsea will have the chance to add one more to their total.
Good skill from Lukaku.
Jose Font had the look of a man there who was basically saying, you're not going any further.
Probably the last action of the game, this.
And there's plenty of interested parties. Alonso has a go and sent it over the top. The holders take a step towards defending their crown. It wasn't straightforward, but in the end, they secure their passage through to the quarterfinals with a 4-1 aggregate success. They were behind on the night through Burak Yilmaz's well-taken penalty, but a very nicely fashioned goal that was finished off by Christian Pulisic levelled things up on the night. They then extended their overall advantage thanks to Cesar Azpilicueta's far post finished his first goal since scoring against Lille in the Champions League in 2019. And Chelsea were pretty comfortable after that. They will take their place in Friday's draw. The holders safely through to the last 8. Lille 1, Chelsea 2. Chelsea win 4-1 on aggregate.
This match is brought to you by Friendlies, UEFA Champions League sponsor.
FA Cup quarter-final, Nottingham Forest versus Liverpool, Sunday 20th March 11:30 p.m. live on Sony Sports Network. India, it's time again. Time for the most prestigious WrestleMania. Be it the longest reigning tribal chief or the 7-time champion, the heavyweight beast. The biggest of the superstars will unleash their fury. WWE WrestleMania.
हमारे चैंपियंस जा रहे हैं तिरंगे को सबसे ऊंचा लहराने। इस बार 100 पार, फिर से हम होंगे कामयाब। 180 दिन बाद 19th एशियन गेम्स कहां?
When two of your fiercest rivals draw daggers at each other, well, sit back, relax, and watch the carnage. Simple pleasures of a cricket fan. Australia tour of Pakistan, third test, Monday 21st March 10:30 a.m.
From over 7 feet in height to over 60 inches in chest size. From jumping off steel cages to backflipping from the top rope. These extraordinary athletes and entertainers are the ultimate heroes. Come, let's celebrate the heroes on WWE Live. Every Tuesdays on Raw, Wednesdays on NXT, and Saturdays on SmackDown Live.
Only on Sony Sports Network.
Thomas Tuchel delighted the Chelsea fans serenaded by the English Blues, and they make it through to yet another quarter-finals of the UEFA Champions League, as Lille did put on a fight, but it was never really enough. And it seemed like it was a night for teams wearing yellow, as Villarreal beat Juventus in Turin by 3-0. Juventus definitely playing slightly better in that match, but 3 goals for the visitors and a quarter-final appearance in the Champions League for Villarreal. Now, these are the 4 teams that made it through. Of course, earlier Manchester City, Liverpool, Bayern Munich and Real Madrid And now we can confirm that 4 more names added to that list. Atletico Madrid, of course, Benfica, a surprise for quite a few people. Chelsea, no surprises there. The defenders, and Villarreal, another surprise inclusion for many people. Now, I know the shock result of the night is Juventus losing, but let's get things started here with Chelsea and Lille. Nizar, we talk about what Lille did with the penalty, with the goal, the slight nervousness of Chelsea fans, and even the commentators towards the end said it wasn't as easy as they would have wished. But when you look at the aggregate scoreline, you really think, well, it was never in doubt, was it?
Yeah, the scoreline doesn't really tell a story of the match, but it does tell a story of the quality between the two teams. Chelsea just had that killer instinct. They just have that hard-to-beat style of play, you know, that mentality that's been instilled in them from Thomas Tuchel. He's done an unbelievable job since he's come here, especially in the Champions League, actually. They're very, very hard to beat in this competition and you know, rock solid, great finishing. And, you know, that's the difference. And that's the quality level of this level of football. And Chelsea, as the European champions, show off what the Champions League is all about, really.
Yep, Thomas Tuchel showing his managerial class, making changes that were immediately very effective. Ashley, don't you think?
Yeah, definitely. It was a slight tweak, wasn't it? Obviously kept the 3, the 5 at the back, if you like, but just put Mason Mount on. So I think first half they were very much, you know, a 3-5-2 or a 5-3-2, but then they just changed it slightly and kind of went to a 5-2-3, which gave them a little bit more impetus in attack. Obviously, Mason Mount, we know, has got quality anyway, and it just a slight tactical tweak, which you recognise from the sidelines, and that just gave them the edge. There was a good spell for Lille, you know, for about 10 minutes, where they were causing a little bit of problems, and he thought maybe, but football's all about moments. It was that header that hit the post. You know, if that goes in, then maybe the game can be a little bit different, but, you know, managing the key moments is always what's key to getting you over the line, and Chelsea just had the experience in those big games and those big moments.
They definitely do. David, of course, Ashley mentioned that moment, you know, the ball coming off the post. It could have been different, but you always felt like whatever was thrown at Thomas Tuchel and Chelsea, they would have managed it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at Mendy. The one hits the post, it doesn't go in. Arguably, you could put it wide. And I'm looking at Mendy, who hasn't had to make a save tonight. You know, 1 penalty. So the defence worked, solid. It gives you the chance to go and score the goals. I mean, it's not as if Chelsea had loads of shots on target themselves, but I thought that was a thoroughly controlled performance. You'd think, had they scored, you'd think Chelsea had enough in that game to go on and score another one. I mean, I thought that, again, Thomas Tuchel as a manager, that Chelsea side, they look decent. They look like European champions doing what they needed to do to get through to the last 8.
Let's just relive what happened in this match. Of course, like Nazar mentioned early on, it really doesn't tell the story. A few nervous moments here with a handball and a penalty awarded to Lille. And they did show intent, Ashley, the home side of what they wanted and the fans wanted.
Yeah, they did. But obviously, you know, we're playing against Chelsea that are structurally sound. You know, they're playing this 5 at the back. And the only opportunity really to hurt them is when Chelsea come out and attack and be expansive, and you have a few seconds to get that goal, to get that ball forward and try and get Chelsea expansive. And as soon as they sit back, you know, it's going to be really, really hard, and you're feeding on scraps really to try and break them down. This was the Chelsea goal. You see Pulisic, he's a good runner. You know, statistically he's great. You know, he's just finding spaces, running forward. You have to say it's a poor goal. 2 midfielders there trying to press the ball, and one was with Pulisic, should have stayed with the runner rather than getting obsessed with the ball. You just see him there, number 21, just running out where he didn't need to, and that you know, made that space open up for the side. And Pulisic is always going to run all day long. You know, if you play 180 minutes, Pulisic will run. You know, he gets all over the pitch with his physical stats. And then obviously this is, you know, aspect of Leclerc, he does very, very well. You know, he defends, he gets in the right positions, but he's always a threat going forward. Experience, you know, coming in at the right place at the right time, and you know, in a decent finish. And that was the, you know, the expansive stretch of Chelsea with the wing backs getting wide across the pitch, making the pitch big and being a threat on the far post. So it was, you know, like David said there, a controlled performance. You know, systematic if you like, clever, calculated. And they just did everything that they needed to do, and if they needed to provide a threat, they did towards the end.
That has to be one of the best finishes of the knee, directed so well towards the goal, because if you've ever played football, just controlling the ball off your knee is a task. And Azpilicueta just showing us that it's pretty easy for him. And Nizar, just a statement as well, the intent from Azpilicueta to just go ahead rushing there to ensure that the team gets through.
Yeah, it was a classic fullback goal. I saw somebody say, I'm stealing this, that Chelsea needed that at the moment, He hit it with his knee, really unorthodox finish, but you just get something on it. And yeah, he's been an unbelievable servant for Chelsea. If you look at what he's done, he's won every single trophy there is to win. He's the only Chelsea player to have done that. He also entered into the top 3 of appearances in the Champions League for a Chelsea player after this game. So really incredible player for Chelsea, and it's quite interesting what will happen with him in the summer now with the contract situation the way it is. His contract is expiring. Barcelona want him, but he's a Chelsea legend, so he's already established himself as a legend whatever he does, but he'd be one that'd be missed because he really is a leader in the dressing room and a great personality around the place.
Well, if they ever need the legends to stay, this is pretty much the time. And the players and the manager have shown that intent so far. Whether or not it continues into the summer, of course, could be a different story. But David, again, just the manner of the victory, just the manner of the changes as well, the manner of not playing as well as they would have hoped, giving Lille the upper hand maybe a few times in that first half, and then completely transforming that in the second half is testament to how far Chelsea could go in the tournament.
Yeah, I think, again, obviously they had a 2-0 cushion, so they didn't have to go out and score goals. But I think the fantastic thing about it was they never looked really phased. As I say, Mendy's not making saves. Once your goal is being called into action, then there's a fundamental flaw. Yes, they hit the post with a header in the second half. But I think they expect to have chances against them. And even though they got the cushion, once the equaliser had gone in, that was effectively the tie over. I just have to make one point, though. On the goal for Azpilicueta, if you look at the run from Pulisic, he actually drags the defender out. And people talk about having number 9s on the field or false 9s. I think with Pulisic making a run towards the middle rather than a number 9 trying to get on the end of it, that allowed Azpilicueta to get in at the far post and score. But as I say, I look at that performance as just a wonderful... Sorry, this is the first goal where Pulisic makes his run, but it's the second goal where, as I say, Azpilicueta is given the space to score, even if it is with his knee. And as you said, Arpit, probably the best knee scored in the Champions League knockout stage. But have a look at Pulisic here. You can just see him running towards a D. A number 9 is going to go towards the goal. He runs away, takes the defender, opens up the space. Thank you very much.
And like you mentioned, one of the best finishes of the knee. I see it again and again, and I'm just as impressed as the first time. I in fact, first thought that it came off the defender. It was such a strong shot, but obviously Azpilicueta getting the goal there. Now, Nizar, of course, things are great. Chelsea fans are reassured a little bit with maybe the change in the performance and obviously the result as well. But is it just a temporary healing of sorts? Do you still feel a lot of turmoil coming their way in the next few months, or maybe this could be settled within the next week?
It's quite funny, actually, the way that Chelsea are at the moment. These matches are actually a little bit of a break from the news. They can sit around, enjoy the game. The players can enjoy the game, take their mind off it, and they look like they're really enjoying themselves. I think it's almost like a welcome break when the match comes along. There's nobody's looking on their social media. They're not looking at what the latest bidders are. I mean, several new potential owners came out during the game, actually. I was keeping half an eye on it, but sometimes you just want to watch the football. That's what it's all about, isn't it, really? So, yeah, the players are giving that welcome distraction. But, yeah, I think, if we're throwing forward, what does it mean for Chelsea? What's going to happen next? We know there's a Friday bid deadline, so everyone's got to get their bids in. I think from there we're going to know a lot more about who's really serious about taking on Chelsea, who's going to be thrown out, and then the hope is that by the end of the month we have an idea of who exactly the new owner will be. And yeah, maybe even before the next Premier League game against Brentford, Chelsea could have a new owner, and that would be really welcome, because the sanctions are hurting. Every day, a minute that goes by, Chelsea are losing money, and it would just be great for Chelsea to get it over and done with, at least know what the future is, whatever it may be, and then start building towards that.
Well, definitely, Nizar, and that victory for Chelsea obviously means that they advance into the quarterfinals, and it means that fans here would have your presence on our show in the future as well. But thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Cheers.
That was Nizar Kinsella. Now, I want to talk about Thomas Tuchel, because we did mention in the build-up to this match as well, 50th Champions League match in charge. He had a chance to go ahead of Zinedine Zidane with a victory, and that's exactly what he's managed. Now, Ashley, David did mention the fact they didn't really need to go for this one because of what they did in the last match. But there's been, obviously, this negative aura around everything Chelsea in the last few weeks, and the fact that as a manager, he has to adapt to the situation as well. Is Thomas Tuchel one of the best out there?
I think he's proving that he's possibly one of the best all round, because obviously he's handling things on the field. You know, he's been praised for the way he's handled things off the field as well, with his conduct and his positivity, and saying the right things at the right time. You know, speaking about issues that you don't envisage speaking about as a manager. You know, you're not kind of, you know, equipped to be dealing with political issues and worldwide issues, but he's been handling those with great honour as well. So I think slowly everybody's warming to him, because he's in a real hard position. You know, he's not really shirking any questions. He's giving clever answers to those questions, and he's the same time he's managing himself on the field as well and getting results. You say they didn't need a win tonight, but you have to keep the momentum going. You have to get people on the pitch. You have to keep your squad all up to the same level of fitness. You know, you see substitutions getting put on at the right time. You know, you can't play a season campaign with 10 players, 12 players, 15. You need your 22, 23, 24. And he seems to be keeping everybody happy. Don't forget he's had this bit of a circus around Lukaku recently as well, which seems to have died down as well. So he seems to be doing everything right at the right time.
David, of course, you're well known for the Goalkeepers Union, but Thomas Tuchel, maybe one of the people you would love to talk on the Managers Union?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, as Ash so correctly put there, I mean, he's handled this current situation superbly well. You know, he's been, as with everything, he seemed to be honest with his comments, his opinion, to the point that he will even sort of blank off having to talk about certain things because he has no experience. The one thing I will say, though, is Chelsea aren't in a title race in the Premier League because of an iffy spell, I think, around Christmas, if I'm not mistaken. And what was interesting then was watching Thomas Tuchel talk, and he actually I think he lost a bit of this cool, calm demeanour. And at the moment, as wonderful as the result was today, as wonderful as they are doing at the moment, it's because they're not actually challenging for anything in a sense. They've lost the League Cup final. They're third in the league, and that's all they're playing for, essentially. And this is to get through to another round. So it would be interesting to see how Thomas Tuchel is acting when it comes to the crunch matches. And I'm not saying that this wasn't a crunch match or a crunch round, but when it gets more serious again, whether he keeps his cool. Because I love him as a manager. I love his honesty. And yes, if we could do the Managers Union, me and Ash could host it together.
Already making buddy plans, and you're talking about pressure on Thomas Tuchel. I don't know how much more pressure you want on this man with everything going around at Chelsea. Now we have reactions coming from France. Here is the man who scored that superb goal with his knee, Cesar Azpilicueta.
Rolling, everybody happy? Cesar, they've been confusing days for Chelsea, but you must be delighted to come through that tonight.
Yes, of course. You know, it has not been a normal last few weeks, but, you know, we have to deal with what it's in our hands, which is train the best we can, be ready for the games. We are coming, you know, we are playing every 3 days, difficult games. We know how difficult is the Champions League, and tonight it was a difficult game. So, of course, we are happy to go through and to win again.
And your goal wrapped it up. Kneed it in nicely. It was beautifully done.
I just put the leg, and I went with my knee. You know, of course, I'm happy. It's not. I'm not very used to score goals. You know, so obviously the winning goal and to go through to the quarterfinals.
I think the last Champions League goal was against Lille 2.5 years ago. So
yeah.
Happy memories.
He was.
But yet, after the penalty, you had to stand up to some pressure, didn't you, in that first half?
I think the first half we didn't start very well. I think they were very active. They had a lot of time to prepare the game. We knew that it was going to be difficult. Sometimes we play in the spaces. Sometimes we made as well a few mistakes. So we allowed them to counter-attacks. They are dangerous, but I think the reaction after the penalty was good. We scored before half-time, and you know,
perfect timing, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
Perfect.
It was the right time, because if you go 1-0 down at half-time, we knew that the second half would be very difficult.
Yeah, it felt a very different game coming out for the second half. But after the run of results that pretty impressive, you could have found plenty of excuses and reasons not to play well, this Chelsea side, but no sign of that at all.
That's not us. You know, this group fights against everything. We know that we have to do the best we can on the pitch. That's what we do. We have our fans here. We are all together, we stick together in the difficult times, and hopefully we end up having a very good season.
And when a club and when the squad are in a difficult situation, it can also bring players even closer together, can't it?
Yeah, and you know, that also the case of players not playing, you know, it's everything outside the noise that sometimes is, you know, it could be maybe easier to just let it go, lose the focus, but as I said before, that's not us. We do everything we can that we have in our hands, and from there we have to keep playing every 3 days difficult games and hopefully have a good end of the season.
You're champions, that's motivation enough, isn't it? Hold on to that crown.
It is, of course.
Thank you, Cesar.
Thank you.
All smiles there for Cesar, and I'm pretty sure the Chelsea fans as well. 2.5 years ago, he scored against Lille, and he did so tonight to calm the nerves. Of course, Chelsea making it through to the quarterfinals, as expected by a lot of people. What was not expected on the night possibly was the scoreline, because we did mention there was a chance of an upset in the match involving Juventus and Villarreal because of the way Juventus exited the last 2 seasons at home at this stage in the Champions League. Last 2 times it was on away goals, so they had something to be a little bitter about. This time against Villarreal, no question about away goals. The rule has been abolished. And it went on to 3 goals for Villarreal. And this is how it's been, because the opponents that they've usually drawn in the round of 16 in the last 3 years would be called underdogs by a lot of people. And Juventus, David, are turning out to be that giant, David, that is the Goliath that always falls.
Yeah, do you know, I wish I'd have stuck with my month ago prediction that they would have gone out. Arpit, what a game. You know, we talked about it at half time. It was all Juve, Rulli in goal for Villarreal, pulling off a couple of wonderful saves. And if you're going to get wound up by the penalty that was given away by Chelsea, you'd get wound up by this, because, you know, it's a reckless challenge. It's not the most dangerous challenge, but it's reckless. There's contact. It went to VAR, and the first shot on target in the 77th minute is a penalty. Basically, this put Juve out. Chesney, sorry, I've just got to say, because Chesney got some criticism for not saving this. But the problem is he stepped right to dive left, because you've got to touch the line. I mean, the corner comes straight. The game's over already. But Chesney tried to push off by stepping right first, which is technically a bad idea. I haven't seen the final goal, but another penalty.
This was actually interesting, because they got the ball in the net, and the ref called it back for a penalty because of De Ligt, a handball, which seems quite unfortunate because De Ligt is diving and looking the other way. But Villarreal didn't care about it, as Danjuma this time stepped up and scored another penalty, the second penalty, the third goal. Pau Torres scoring the second goal in this one, which meant 3 goals against Juventus on a night where they could have done with a performance. We started off building up, saying this could be an upset, saying that the Juventus fans could be nervous, and their worst fears were realized as Villarreal made it through to the quarterfinals. And like we said, it's upset after upset after upset for Juventus. Now, Unai Emery, who last season guided Villarreal to the Europa League trophy, was unbeaten in Europe last year, has won the Europa League more times than any other manager in the competition's history. But this is the first time he's qualified for the Champions League quarterfinals in his career. And Ashley, people will talk about the fact, like David mentioned, that, 77th minute, the first shot on target, a penalty, another penalty, obviously, in the dying minutes. But Juventus should have closed this game out.
They should, but, you're saying an upset. I fancied Villarreal. I've mentioned before, they're a decent side. They're well organised. They're hard to break down. They've only conceded 26 goals in the league, which is third to Seville and Real Madrid. So it's showing you that they do keep the ball out the back of the net most of the time. And they're a decent side to crack. They scored 3 last time they was in Italy against Atalanta, which is a decent result as well. And I think their game plan was to keep it tight, try and keep the ball as much as possible, and we'll get chances because we know we're a good side. They've got some top players that probably don't get the credit they deserve. And for me, it was a well-balanced performance. Again, yes, Juventus at home are going to have chances, they're going to have attempts, but Villarreal were more clinical, and I mentioned that at half-time.
Now, incidentally, we mentioned it had been 14 years since they kept a clean sheet away from home in the Champions League. Villarreal, they managed that. They managed to score 3 goals as well. Geronimo Rulli, the goalkeeper, had a major hand in this one, keeping that clean sheet for Villarreal. And again, a confirmation of the quarterfinalists after the matches tonight. This is the list. Few names expected in there as Liverpool, Bayern Munich, Manchester City, Chelsea being the ones that you would completely assume to be there. Real Madrid, of course, an amazing fight back against PSG. They made it through as well. Atletico Madrid, not many surprises in terms of beating Manchester United over 2 legs. Benfica, one of the biggest upsets, beating Ajax and making it through. And of course, Villarreal, another upset on the cards, making it through as well to the quarterfinals. This is the first time in 19 years that 2 nations have 3 teams, Spain and England, of course, in the Champions League quarterfinals. And, of course, the previous list, as you can see, Italy there and Spain as well. David, England, we talk about, the strength of the team. We talk about the space of the league, and we talk about the expectations of the teams making it this far. When the season started, we spoke about the weakness of La Liga, and Joffre spoke about it as well. And now we're seeing 3 teams from La Liga in the quarterfinals.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, of course, you're talking about in the likes of Real Madrid team, very seasoned in doing this. So it's almost like because the league's been weak, they've been able to sort of sort things out and get ready for, you say, quarterfinals of the Champions League. I mean, Real Madrid, granted, I don't think anyone, well, I'm sure there's a few people expecting them to win, but definitely I wasn't one of them. The predictions for the quarterfinals, I probably came bottom of the league as it happens, our pit. But the anomaly there, obviously, with Benfica going through, which was a surprise. But yes, it's going to be a fascinating quarterfinal. Always looking at Man City and Liverpool as still the favourites, but with a draw coming up, as you say, on Friday, I mean, theoretically they could face each other, and then it's someone else to take them on. Well, obviously, Chelsea today looked very good, I thought.
Now, before I come to Ashley, let's just remind you, David mentioned the draw, and you can watch the draw live as well on the Sony Sports Network Friday. David's already mentioned it. 18th March, of course, Indian time, as you can see, 4:30 p.m. there on Sony 10-2. Both quarterfinals and semi-final draws will be made, so do tune in for that. We have a great weekend coming up as well. I'll come to that in a bit, Ashley, before I get your reactions on the 8 quarterfinalists. Ash, are you...
Yeah, I'm sorry, mate. I thought you was trying to pick that up. I was just waiting for the table to come up of the predictions because David was saying he might be bottom of the league. I thought to myself I might be